So,
I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Public Works Committee for the City of Hudson. We are meeting on Monday, January 12th, 2026 at 5 p.m. First item is roll call for the council members. We have Council Member Sarah Brooke.
Here.
Thank you. Council Member Mike Kennedy.
Here.
Here, thank you. And I am Joy Knudsen. I serve as the chair on this committee. I also like to introduce our city staff here for people who might be watching the meeting and wonder who our various experts are that are speaking. So to my left is our city engineer, Aaron McPhee Anderson. To my right is the director of Public Works and Parks, Michael Mraz, and executive assistant for that same department is Debbie Andrews. And then thank you, we also have another staff member, Chad Christensen, is here this evening. We're going to be talking about storm pond maintenance, etc., and he's our staff member, our lead staff for that area. So thank you for being here also, Chad. First item then for business is minutes from our last meeting. We met on December 8th, 2025. Any comments? Anybody?
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. A motion and second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
I thank you. That's approved. And then we do have an open comment time period here for any citizens that care to bring issues, concerns, questions to our committee in areas or topics that we cover, and it is a chance to bring your concerns. No one is present here tonight for that purpose, so we'll move on to our new business. And item 5A is discussion and possible action to approve the 2026 stormwater maintenance project.
Yeah, so I guess I'll introduce this item and then I'll turn it over to Chad. So per our city ordinances, the Public Works Committee is supposed to review annually the capital improvement plan for stormwater. So what that's looked like in the past is I've brought forward specific projects that we're looking to spend money on in the upcoming season. Largely that's related to stormwater ponds or just general stormwater infrastructure, pipes, some bad areas that Chad has observed out in the field that we need to address. So having said that, I won't take Chad's thunder here, but put this plan together and I'll let him kind of just give an overview of what we're looking to do this upcoming season, kind of talk about what the costs associated with that, and then any other thing that he wants to add to it. So Chad Christensen has been with the city for a number of years, almost, 18?
18.
Yeah. In the previous, probably 7, 8 years, he's been our stormwater utility coordinator. So he oversees a lot of the infrastructure, does a lot of the inspections for the city engineers, does a lot of the maintenance himself, so very versatile, and has since kind of helped me with the MS4 annual report that we get to DNR, so he's kind of getting roped into that more and more every year. So with that being said, Chad, I'll let you kind of just take it away and kind of go through the program that we got for this upcoming season.
Thank you, Mike. So our main focus this year is going to be storm ponds maintenance. As we all know, we've kind of fallen behind since MS4 started, kind of playing catch up. So there's a sheet in front of you all. I think if you could look at that, please. Well, our main focus is 5 ponds this year, mainly focusing on 2 of bigger projects. Pond 141, which is right off of Hagen Street on the south side of 94. That is our biggest project of the year that we were hoping to get done. We started it a couple years ago with the clearing of trees and brush, but this one's pretty important because it pretty much is about 30% of our stormwater, I would say, goes into this pond, and it's kind of the last resort before it goes to the river. And after we did a swamp report this last season, we determined we're about 8 to 10 feet at its lowest point of sediment that's been filled up that we have to dredge out. So we're hoping to dredge this south side of this pond, which is where it first comes into the pond. By doing that, we're hoping to collect most of that water, and then it flows down to the north through a control structure and then into the last pond, which then would go down into the river. The purpose of these ponds is to collect all the debris, sediment, and pollutants and stuff so it doesn't get into our river. But like I said, we are very much overdue with dredging this pond out. It says here we're going to dredge it all out. We're going to try to do most of this, if not all of it, in-house. We want to construct that pond to hold the water at the very beginning of the pond, and then we want to add overflow weirs, which essentially is just going to control the water in, and then as it gets to a level, it'll continue on downstream. to the next ponds, helping infiltrate and sediment to get to the bottom so we don't have to build up of it getting to the river.
So it'd be like a lock system on the river for those people that, yeah, so.
Essentially, yeah.
It would fill up to a certain point, spill over, and then fill up to a certain point, kind of just that way to keep the sediment.
So a lot of time will be into this pond, being that it is probably the most important pond that we have, and it is going to take some time to dredge it. Most of the stuff we can keep on site that we pull out of the pond. We'll spread it out, build up the sides a little bit so it's not washing out. If you ever go down there, it's pretty much completely underwater when it rains because it can't handle the rain as much. That's how much water gets into that pond. Other ponds that we are looking at, the next biggest one would be St. Pat's, Pond 153. On this sheet, I did make an error on this. We do plan on having tree service come in and help us clear some brush and trees out of here. There's probably 100 or more trees of various different sizes.
Okay.
As a staff, we'll go in and brush and mow down a lot of the smaller stuff, but we'll need help hauling out the bigger trees. Right now, that pond is not servicing at all as it should. Everything comes down into it. It's supposed to infiltrate, and then after a while, go back down and continue downstream. But right now, everything's plugged up with debris.
Yeah, and this pond has been on our radar for the last few years. And so I actually have received some phone calls from the residents over the last couple, just kind of talking about the schedule, so on and so forth. So we're at a point now where we can take this on and kind of just start the process, like you said, get the vegetation cleared out. Having said that, we'll definitely do a good job communicating with the residents, sending out letters, explaining what's happening, why it's happening, to try to head off a lot of the questions or concerns that they have. So
Is this the pond that the people in Summer Pines
right.
thought they were responsible for, and then we had a vote about
Correct.
that, and it's really a city
Yep, it's a city pond.
responsibility.
So actually, and I know they're working on handing over the other one that is technically in the Summer Pines DA, that's the HOA's responsibility.
Okay.
They're looking to offload that on the city, which is fine. But yes, you are correct. It is the pond directly to the south of the St. Pat's Church off the parking lot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so continuing on with those, we have a couple other ponds on the list here that are done, pretty minor things that need to get done, not a lot of time considering. Burkmo's Park, it's not actually in the park, it's just along Cooley on both sides of the roads. They're mostly kind of a drainage ditch area, and then one's a bigger one, but very overgrown with trees. We've already started on the bigger one. I can't remember if that's 184 or it's 185. We've already clear cut a lot of there. We have to go back in and get some fallen trees, but that needs about 2 to 3 feet of sediment dredged out of it too.
Is that a natural accumulation, or did we?
That's natural accumulated.
It was, so that was just because of the hillside and so
The
on.
hillside and stuff coming through over the years.
So it was never created as a pond like some of these others
This
are.
was constructed to control water. Yep.
It was, okay.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
When you dredge that sediment in those ditch, then what do you do with that?
Plan on using it on site to build up the
Okay.
side. Yep,
Same
it's pretty
thing.
steep there. It's hard for us to maintain now with our equipment, so I'm gonna try to level it off a little bit more so we can get in there and mow annually
Nice, thank you.
easier. So, yeah, most of the stuff we plan on shaping it so it's easier for us to maintain in the future.
Great. Awesome.
And then Pond 152, we've already started on behind Christian Community Home. We kind of clear cut that 2 years ago.
Yep.
Went back in there and we got it it's dredging, but it's mostly clearing it out from the outfall and spreading it out around the side so the water flows more. That's kind of, this will be like the last phase of that pond, and then we can just continually mow and from that. So.
And is your plan to start with the Hagen one first? Kind of what's your, will you do some
Yeah, so Hagen,
simultaneously?
the biggest one, yep, sorry, Hagen Street, it's pretty much gonna be weather dependent, because when it rains, you're not going in there for a handful of days, because there's a lot of water in there.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's pretty crazy, where you can't really get equipment, so I'm guessing that I will try to get in there as soon as we can, but probably, hopefully it's a drier summer, it'll probably be more of a summer, July into August type of job, so it dries up enough with our heavy equipment. We'll probably rent a dozer in there to help spread it out, so we'll need some dry time in there. The other ones we can pretty much go in pretty much from end of spring
Okay.
through the summer and fall.
So on the issue sheet itself, Chad and I kind of put together just some estimated expenses on what it's going to cost to kind of bring these ponds back into compliance and get it dredged and get it holding the water capacity that they're intended for. So pond 141 off of Hagen Street. So we had estimated 50,000. A lot of that is going to be for renting a dozer and purchasing the weirs that Chad is going to be placing. Obviously, we bought a track excavator a couple years ago, and so we have that on hand. So that's a piece of equipment that we don't have to rent or hire out anymore. So that obviously saves us a lot of money. But we'll have an operator in the track hoe and an operator in the dozer, and it's going to be kind of a heavy equipment dance that they're going to do. So that's where that $50,000 is going to go towards. And then the other big one is the St. Pat's Church. Obviously, the $50,000 would go primarily towards hiring a company, a commercial tree removal company, to come out and do some heavy lifting for us and get some of the big stuff out of there. Get to a point where it's manageable for our staff to go in there and maintain. So that's kind of the big two that we're looking at, like I said, getting done this year. And then obviously where this money comes from is out of the stormwater utility. So for 2026, we had $170,000 in the budget for capital expenses. So we're spending, a little over $100,000 right now anticipated. And then the remaining monies would be put towards some of the ancillary projects that maybe come up, whether it's, some type of catch basin failure or pipe failure, so on and so forth. And then any monies that we don't use up just stay in the utility for future projects or equipment purchases. So that's kind of the plan right now.
And all these, any or all of the trees that you take down, just because I know that a couple of years ago we had some conversation I did with someone in my district. That's, although it may be, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it may be private property, but it's within an easement, and the city has to maintain these. So if you have a tree there now, and it's not healthy for the pond to be there, and the tree goes away, that's how we maintain them.
Yeah.
Okay, so the city's, I'll say yes, responsible for the tree, but it's not going to be replaced, and it's not really your tree.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, a lot of that stuff I spell out in the letters that I send to adjacent residents. And
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, explaining why the tree needs to go and the impacts that the trees have on the overall system, how they fill it up faster and it decreases the life cycle. And, on the embankments, it erodes away, the roots erode away the embankments, and then we get washouts, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of publication on it through the DNR that I utilize. So, but yeah, that's kind of the premise of it. So basically tonight, if you don't have any more questions for Chad, we just be looking for just a formal approval of the plan for 2026.
I'll move to approve the stormwater maintenance 2026 plan.
Second that?
Okay, there's a motion, a second, to move forward with the proposed 2026 stormwater maintenance. Any other comments or discussion?
Thank you, Chad,
Yeah,
for being
thank you
here.
for being
That was
here.
really
I
helpful.
do appreciate that. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we're past that and moving forward. And again, thank you for being here to help explain that.
before you leave.
It's interesting, and for the public, of course, we're talking about preserving our river and trying to, control sediment and so on to keep it as clean as possible. We're actually mandated to do that once the city became a certain size population, is that correct?
10,000, yeah.
Once we were over 10,000 population, the state of Wisconsin had mandated that, and of course, we're adjacent to a very significant waterway. So thank you for that discussion. That's great. Next item, new business 5B, discussion and possible action to approve Bolton and Mink letter of engagement for 2026 mill and overlay engineering services.
Yep, so this is my item. So our mill and overlay project was approved as part of the 2026 CIP. And after looking at our schedule with our internal staff and kind of looking at all the projects we have in 2026, also planning around our other engineering staff, will be having a baby in March, and so he's going to be going on a little bit of paternity leave for a few weeks and maybe doing part-time. He doesn't know exactly. So that eats into some of our,
Staff hours.
50% of
Yeah.
our staff.
Yeah.
So We reached out to Bolton and Mink to see if they had capacity to help with us, and they did. So we got an estimate from them for doing plans and specifications for the mill and overlay project. And so we're proposing to hire them for $35,200, and that would be the maximum. So they would only charge us the hourly rate they're spending on the project. So I'm hoping, you know, it could be less than that. And if our staff at the same time, Maverick will be working on our alley and sidewalk project design. And so if he wraps that up early and before he goes on leave, maybe we can jump in and help as needed. But right now, this is just a nice contingency to have and just feel more comfortable with getting the project out to bid in a timely
Right.
manner this
That
spring.
that means a lot, doesn't
Yeah,
it? To be
yes.
bidding at the right time of the season.
Yep.
Sure.
So we looked at a schedule, and even right now, if we get them approved in January, we would hopefully, the earliest bid opening would be the beginning of April. And so that's assuming they're gonna help us out. If we didn't approve them, you know, we would kind of see how it goes. This project might become lower priority than our pavement reclamation project. So I don't know exactly when we would get it out to bid if we had to do it internally. So.
And this is coming from the 2.5 million that we
Yeah.
have towards infrastructure
Yeah,
is the
so we
funding
always
source.
plan with the projects, it includes engineering and.
Okay.
So whether that's our staff or someone else, yeah, we'll make it work with the funds.
So there is a list for anyone in the public that's interested in that. It's on page 11 out of 23 pages in tonight's agenda. If people are interested in what streets are going to be getting this, we could use the word maintenance for it, is that a term?
Oh, the mill and overlay.
Mill and overlay.
Mill and overlay,
Yeah.
okay. And do you still do, I remember hearing that there was a seal or something that's, do you do like a seal? I mean, I always said mill and overlay. Is there another layer in there as well, or?
Sometimes.
Some people do.
Are you talking
Well,
about the
they're talking about the
underseal?
Texas underseal.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a experimental process that communities are doing. So basically what they're doing is they're milling off, let's just say 2 inches of asphalt pavement. They're coming in and do a seal coat on the milled surface, and then they're doing the new asphalt on top of that. So Eden Prairie is doing this a lot. And Dean did a bunch of research on this
Yeah.
when he was around.
I
And
knew a prior engineer had mentioned
Yeah,
it.
and
Okay.
Aaron and Mav kind of followed up with it. They're only doing a Texas underseal on pavements that are 7 inches or more, or some. It's some.
Yeah,
it's-
and I guess, yeah, I mean, I even asked like we did a geotechnical report, and they even said, like, you can do it, I guess it doesn't have to be thick like that, but yeah, they do have thicker pavement there.
Yeah,
But it isn't necessary.
it's not
Not
necessary.
necessary.
No, no.
Not questioning your expertise.
Yeah, it's
I was just
not
curious because I remember
necessary.
hearing
Yeah.
that phrase
Yeah.
about,
It's supposed to help with reflective cracking, but again, I feel like it's not like
It's not
conclusive.
guaranteed. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
okay, thank you for that explanation.
yeah.
Any questions or comments?
I'll move to approve, what do we want? Bolton and Mink,
Letter of
agreement,
engagement.
letter of agreement for engagement for mill and overlay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to move forward with the letter of engagement with Bolton and Mink for the 2026 mill and overlay engineering services. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, that's carried. And then the next item is 5C, discussion, possible action to approve Bolton and Mink letter of engagement for 2026 pavement reclamation and trail maintenance engineering services.
So this is very similar concept as the mill and overlay. This is another project that was approved in the 2026 CIP. And again, kind of just looking at our schedule, we tried figuring out what makes sense to do in-house versus try to hire out. And kind of which project we know the best. So we felt like us doing internally the alleys and sidewalk program this year just made a lot more sense. And like the sidewalk replacement program is a lot of like piecemeal work because we're just doing sidewalk replacement all over the city and things. So that would be easier, and we kind of have more knowledge of that. So again, this is just to help us out to get the projects out to bid in a timely manner. And we have done some preliminary work on this that we have sent them our AutoCAD files and some of our designs, so at least they're not starting from scratch, and we were able to contribute some internally as we had time this fall. And we are going to tack on the Crestview Trail to this plan set. We felt like that made sense with our project areas are Hazel Crest, which is south of 94, and then 17th and Laurel are north of 94, and the Crestview Trail is kind of in the middle of those two projects. So it kind of made sense to just add that for bidding and like working with the same contractor to just do that all in one bid package.
Can you explain why the different LOEs, why get a different LOE for mill and overlay, and then why a different one for reclamation?
Well, one was in case we would only get one of them approved to not do all of it together. And they're two separate project types. So the mill and overlay is, a lot easier to do from a plan perspective, and we just decided to break them up. There wasn't necessarily
I think you'll have different contractors bidding. I mean, do some people
Yeah, probably.
prefer looking to do this type of work versus
Yes.
reclamation?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
And the trail needs to be reclaimed? It's so
Yeah,
deteriorated that-
it's very deteriorated. We're gonna do from basically Hagen to Festival Foods.
Okay.
That's kind of what we can do with $150,000. And that's like 3 years of our bonding that we do for trail maintenance. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it goes
That's
very
hard,
far.
Disappointing.
For like
Yeah, I
deep sigh, I mean, that's so expensive
Yeah,
and we
it
just don't
is.
have much budget, but I think it's a good choice because
Yeah.
they just improved the trail in front of
Right.
Festival Food.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
they Came in
so-
there, so.
And our thought is like, now that 11th Street is done, a lot of people might want to walk to Festival Foods from
Yeah.
that kind of the neighborhood up behind KFC or, Taco John's. And
Yes, that sidewalk.
yeah, to have a good
Yeah.
trail system getting people to and from that neighborhood
Sure.
would be, that's kind of what we were thinking.
Yeah, so this one, similar bidding schedule, so beginning of April for the bid opening, and then the construction schedule for this one, we want to limit to be outside of school, at least for the 17th Laurel Avenue portion of the project, since that's more heavily traveled for this high school and other school traffic.
EP Rock.
And that should be easily accomplished within that time frame. And so this one, because it's just a little more intensive plan sheet work, it is a little more expensive to do. So that's why this one's $56,900. And again, it would be like hourly up to that amount.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
quick question, devil's advocate question. I'll be the
Yep.
devil. You guys be the advocates. I don't know if that's how that works. So, these are all existing paths, right? Or is that Festival Foods one, the new one?
It's existing.
Everything's
Yeah,
existing.
yep, exists.
So, and again, I'm making this as way too simple, so I'm not trying to insult you with both of you with your
Yep.
experience on it. But we need to rip up old blacktop and lay new stuff down about exactly where it's coming from. And I assume we're not doing utilities and manhole covers and things like that. I guess my question is it that much more technical to do these projects than a guy that does driveways and tennis courts and paths to say, oh, we need to rip this up and put it down? I guess just try to justify the engineering end of it when we're not really creating anything new, we're just replacing what was there. Does that
See,
make sense?
are you just saying for the trail or just all of it? Because this is like the
Just in
roads.
general, the idea that we're gonna
Yeah.
go outside and have someone do a ton of work
Yeah. From engineering perspective.
from the engineering, yeah.
Yeah, the trail, no. And then, even the pavement reclamation plans, it's a little more work on the construction side of things. There is more utility adjustments, and I still need to coordinate with the utility department, but there could be some manhole replacements, or there's other, you have to call out a lot more things on it so they don't miss it during construction, because they're going down to the base and regrading, so there's a little more detail. Yeah, is it like, I mean, this isn't quite double, but I have a feeling, especially since we've started some things, I mean, this is their best guess on how long it's going to take them from doing similar projects. And so we're going to dive into the ADA ramps, I think, a little bit more on this project too, and those can be kind of a, you spend a few more hours looking at redesigning some of the curb ramps and things, but
To you and it seems simple, but it has to be.
and it's not overly complicated, no, but we're gonna do spot curb and gutter replacement, so then they have to add all these like little, it's like more labels and it's not necessarily like harder, it just takes a little more time.
Yeah, no, and that I
With
appreciate.
labels and, but I'm hoping it like wouldn't come out to this much, but there was a few, diving into, they might have to go out and do some topo survey for some of the areas. We were considering looking at the pedestrian crossing at Summer and 17th a little bit more. We might not, because right now there's the RFB there. So they added a few more hours to like look at the design a little bit more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you got, and the other thing too to point out is like, obviously, like, so you just redid the trail in Red Cedar Canyon, right?
Yep.
And driveways. A lot of those are easier just because you're matching existing, slopes or whatever. So when you're coming in to do a reclaim project, obviously you're taking out all of the asphalt, rebasing, and then obviously the contractor is having to meet a certain grade that's in the plan set. Well, Bolton Make helps determine what grade each block is, where's the water gonna flow to the curb, and how does it get to the next catch basin, the tie-in points to all the, pedestrian ramps. So it is very technical, and you gotta have those in the plans, because if you don't, and all of a sudden the contractor comes in, they mill everything off, they repave everything, and you got bowls all over and water standing all over, there's nothing in the plans to hold them to, like, where in a professional plan set you could say, well, you're supposed to have 1% pitch going this direction for this block and 0.5% going that way, and that's where you can hold contractors to what the plans actually say and get it.
So it's the street that we want.
Yeah.
Rather than.
Right. And I'm not opposed at all.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Investing money to do it, because hopefully we do this once every 25 years, not once every 4 years. And that those justification makes, maybe I'm living back in the
trail
60s where we just throw some asphalt down.
Yeah, I mean, for finance or council, I mean, Aaron, if you want us to, we can get like out of that 56,000, how much was actually for the trail design work? It's probably very minimal.
That's gonna be minor.
Probably like five to
minor.
10 grand.
Yeah, that's minor for it.
Well, it's true. Anytime I see what we pay for design and engineering, it does make me appreciate you and Maverick that you do save the city a lot of money when you are able to do that in certain projects.
Yeah.
Does this fee include the supervision of?
No.
So you guys will be out on the street, or do we hire someone? Depends on our staffing.
Yeah, it depends on our staffing.
If you're able to, or Maverick's hours.
Yep.
Because we also need an engineer on site to make sure, like you said, they're following the grade and every angle.
A lot of that's determined by what else is happening in the city, what type of private development is happening. So, for example, last year, Canner Crossing, we had that development going in out by the movie theater. And so Maverick was doing our internal projects, and then he was hopscotching over there and, trying to catch everything, and he was just bouncing out. So a lot of it is dependent upon what developments are coming in to what we have time, what the what our staff has time to.
Make sure everything is done according to the plan.
Yep.
And we do feel like with that external expense for the engineering services, there still will be adequate funds to honor all of the streets that we're trying to reclaim. And
we really dove into it last week with just like the overall project budget, and we can kind of lump 2026 and 2027 together. So if like from a CIP bonding standpoint, since it's kind of one pot of money, we don't have to split it up 50-50 like each year. So we felt like, and with some of the grants we've received, that there should be plenty to cover it. But yeah, we are pushing to do as many projects as we can with the money, which is good.
Yeah.
But
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve another letter of engagement with Bolton and Mink for the 2026 pavement reclamation and trail maintenance engineering services. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries also. Thank you. And now we are to old business, item 6A, the Public Works Facility update.
Yeah, so in your packet, I included a memo from Kraus Anderson from December, kind of just giving an update on some of the progresses at both the Public Works facility and the PD. And then in there was also kind of a budget that they're keeping track of. So to summarize, both projects are technically kind of lumped together in that one bond. They are coming within the budget that was set for both projects, so that's good. The construction contingency that's remaining is $683,051. To date, we have had pending change orders of $112,732, and then those are the pending. The change orders that have been executed is an additional $112,302. So, like I said, it's in the packet for anybody in the public that is wanting those numbers. They are online. But specifically for the Public Works facility, it's moving along well. A majority of the internal improvements have been completed, so we're able to open up the restrooms today for the lease side. So that's good. They're very excited for that. They've been down for about a month and a half now, so they were super excited about that. The signal shop, the decking went on late last week, so basically the roof is installed. Framing is going to start on both the signal shop and the salt shed later this week. Materials are being delivered today and tomorrow. So just in time for the cold weather to come, then they'll be outside framing, so lucky them. The sheet metal for the overhead doors is scheduled to be here on the week of January 22nd. And so later on that week, they will start trimming out the overhead doors and installing them, and hopefully the construction manager said that'll be about a 2-week process to get them installed. So once those are installed, a lot of the internal improvements have been completed. So, that'll be, the middle of February, late February, we can start having that conversation as staff as far as, what the winter is looking like. If we do have some downtime, we can maybe start thinking about moving some of our equipment over or some of our supplies over, so on and so forth. But, obviously it's going well. Kraus Anderson has been on point. They're really responsive to any questions that either Jeff or I have. And they're very, very detailed with their weekly meetings, which I appreciate. We're able to ask questions to the contractors and ask why, or, why are you doing this or why are you doing that? And they can explain it in layman's terms that we can understand, which I appreciate. Mm-hmm. I know Jeff has had a little more challenges with his building just because it's a little more intensive. Our site has been less, so I can appreciate that too. And then for the contingencies that I talked about when I first started, so those are both Public Works and PD. Those are lumped together. So it's not like I had $112,000 of change orders or Jeff didn't have 100. That's kind of combined. I think for me to date, I'm probably best guess probably like 30 to 40 in change orders that happened, but nothing that's been like, oh my gosh, we got to come up with an extra $250,000 by any means. So a lot of small things that have added up. So that's kind of where we're at. If you have any questions or...
Well, could you comment just partly for the public as well as our committee about the contingency? Is that like what was built in the budget to anticipate some surprises or change orders?
Yep. So any large construction project like this, a contingency is built into it. And it's usually, 10 to 15% of the overall construction budget. So I think, if I remember correctly, I think the PD, Chief Willems, his project was about 10, and the Public Works was like 3.5 for recon. So 13, so the contingency 10% is about 1.3. Our construction contingency in the budget was a little over 600,000. So yes, it is very standard that a contingency is put into the overall budget to catch things that may not be seen. If you tear a wall apart and all of a sudden there's mold in the insulation, or it's a different type of insulation that doesn't meet the current code. So there are those things put in there. So if you don't use all the contingency, obviously that's a good thing, right? And that's money that can go back to other projects that the council wants to do, you know, so on and so forth. So, but to answer your question, yes, that is very, very standard on a project like this. Yep.
Thank you.
Were you able to say any of that beautiful green tile that I
No,
remember?
that's all gone.
Oh.
Yeah, it's all gone.
I thought we could save that. Good riddance.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I have. Obviously, I'll kind of keep it on the agenda moving forward, just because we are kind of nearing that point where we are starting to maybe utilize the building, just to kind of give you an idea of what's happening and what we're doing, and yeah.
Great, that is great. Good to hear how things are progressing. Any other comments or questions?
I would just love to, when the time is right, maybe hold a meeting there, or at
Yes,
least
we
an open
should.
house.
Yeah,
Good.
Not just for us, but for the public too, who's
yeah.
paying for this.
Right.
And so they can see that,
Open
as we've
house
been
at
trying
some
for
point.
years, maybe before you get out of the other ones, they should go drive by some of the other buildings that you guys have been working out of.
Yeah.
And then see this, and it makes a lot of sense why this needed to happen, so.
Very much needed,
Yeah.
for sure. Yes, that'd be great. I'm sure you're planning an
Oh, yeah.
open house
Yeah,
at a certain
absolutely.
point. Very good. Okay, then on to project updates, 7A, the 2025-2026 plowing season.
Yeah, yeah.
Report for us?
The staff has been busy over the last month, a lot different than the last couple of years. So as it stands right now, kind of through 2025, I had Kevin Soltis, the Public Works Foreman, help pull some numbers for me. So we have 1,600 tons of salt that were allotted for the season. And this is based on kind of submissions that I give to the state for the state bid pricing. So to date, we've ordered 1,050 tons of that. So it kind of gives you an idea of what we have remaining to order, or what we have available to us. So about 550 tons left. Obviously, the ice, the wacky weather that we've had over the last couple of weeks has really put a dent into our supply. I would take snow 10 times out of 10 over any type of ice rain event. You just burn through it so fast. And I mean, we were getting lots of phone calls, and the staff was out multiple times covering the whole city, and it's just, you can't keep up to it. I mean, you can pour salt and it just refreezes. So
Well, especially when it rains.
Yeah.
Then and
yeah,
freezes.
yeah, exactly,
Snow, melt,
exactly.
freeze. Yeah, it's been quite a cycle.
Yeah, and so obviously with the staff being out over the month of November, December, I did kind of look back at the overtime budget for 2025. So in our budget for 2025, we had $43,600 for overtime allotted. Our year to date, what I found today, at the end of the year, we were at $60,330 for overtime. So we were approximately $16,000 over, a little more than that.
Okay.
Now that's not just for snow.
So that was for 2025?
That's for 2025.
Closed out,
Yep,
okay.
yep. So that's anything from trees that are knocked over, any type of event setup that we need to come in for. Obviously, it includes snow removal, but then emergency call-outs for like knockdown signs, traffic signals, street lights, sinkholes, catch basins. So it is kind of all lumped together. It's not specifically just for snow and snow removal, but it gives you an idea of kind of where we're at on a normal year. And last year was quiet, I mean, for most part. So, yeah, it just kind of give you an idea of where we're at for overtime in 2025.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, I know that you had commented, and of course, Thanksgiving, a lot of people want to travel for holiday and family, and it's also deer season.
Yep.
Has that been difficult for you and your staff? Certainly they have to request time off. You have to turn some people down sometimes. So you need to keep people available and they're not able to take their vacation.
Yeah, so
How's that going?
this Thanksgiving, so since I've been here almost 8 years now, we haven't really turned employees' vacation time down. We want them to be able to take time away with their families. Having said that, we do keep in mind, like, obviously the whole department can't be gone over the Thanksgiving weekend. This last Thanksgiving, we had 4 guys gone, and we kind of got caught a little bit, and we were behind on some of the plowing. Sure. And so moving forward, I know Kevin and I talked about either we try to limit the number of guys that are gone over a holiday break, or just make sure that they're available to be around. Obviously, I know for New Year's and Christmas, a lot of guys took time off around the holidays, but at least they were in the area. They weren't like gone and not available. And so a lot of them did have to come back, over their New Year's or Christmas breaks to come in and plow our salt. So, which is really appreciated. But yeah, it is kind of you want to be employee friendly. You don't want to be so stringent that guys don't want to work here because you're so strict that, so it's kind of a catch-22. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it just affirms that we need another, we need at least one more, maybe a couple more Public Works employees to help carry that burden and be prepared so that people can take time off of us.
Yeah, you don't want the director out in the truck. I tend to wreck things too much, so I try to stay out of it as much as possible. But there's times where I need to come in, and that's
right. I understand that you every winter, I'm sure you do several shifts that start at 2 a.m., right?
Yeah, I maybe come in at 3 or 4.
Right. It's the later shift, get a shorter route.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of that work from all the staff is very much appreciated. So we're grateful for it.
One quick question, if I may. And I should probably know this off the top of my head, and if you don't remember, no problem, you can let me know later. But for the 2026 budget, what did we earmark for overtime?
It was the same amount.
Okay.
Yep.
So we could run into a similar issue.
Yeah.
Depending on.
Yeah, and it was higher when Aaron Reeves was our city administrator, but our overtime budget was reduced when he was here. And like I said, for the last couple of years, it really wasn't a problem. We came well under, and now last year we were a little over, and it's just kind of, it's a best guess, right? So.
Absolutely.
That's all I got.
Any other questions there? Okay. If not, then another project update about recent purchase of a hybrid truck.
Yeah.
How that's working out for the department.
Yeah. So Public Works was able to purchase a hybrid truck about a year and a half ago now already, looking back on when those trucks were purchased, and kind of just bringing forward kind of a brief overview of just having that truck. That's been my primary vehicle. So obviously I'm very well aware of how it handles and everything like that. To date, we've only had to do an oil change on it, a couple oil changes, so no other further maintenance beyond that. There's 13,300 miles on the truck. And so on the truck, it has a computer. Of those 13,300, 4,657 have been electric miles. So approximately, what would that be, 40%?
Yeah.
Something like that, 35%. So when that comes to numbers, that's about 232 gallons at 20 miles a gallon. So approximately $600 saved over the year and a half on just that one vehicle. So using for fuel. Yep.
Is that a vehicle you're driving?
Yep, that's my primary vehicle. Yep, around town and then to trainings or Rain to Rivers, meetings, so on and so forth. So that's kind of the update on that. Obviously, like I said, it's so far so good.
Working well.
Yep.
It's a Ford.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments there?
But that's great to hear that you haven't had any issues or concerns as the opportunities to arise in the future, to know it's worked out well with a year and a half. So something good to think about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for that report. Okay, and then that's the last project update, unless you had anything else that you wanted to bring in. Okay, and then we have a couple of items that we'll be looking at in the near future. So that's the last item 8 on our agenda, retaining wall policy. We'll be discussing that again with some rewording or changes, some small changes with some major changes that you're going to be suggesting. And then also we'll talk about our CIP for a broader, do you picture that you're going to kind of lay out what you expect us to do year by year?
Yes.
Over the next few years.
Yep.
So those items will be coming up soon on our agenda. Did you have any comments about that tonight, either one of you, about those?
I don't want to open that can of
Yeah.
worms right now.
Right, we'll wait until it's on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else from committee members?
Move to adjourn?
Second?
Okay, motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.